and went near the farmer and called the farmer. Oh, the farmer saw the king and came running with folded hands. Oh, farmer, so how are you? I am fine. So why you are standing there with folded hands? So the farmer said, Maharaj, you are the king. Okay, I am the king. What are you? I am a poor farmer. Okay, you do like this. You come here. Stand by my side. And he removed his big, costly, that overcoat he removed. And he has a white flowing dhoti. The kings also were wearing like that. He made it halfway. He pulled it halfway and tied around his waist. And he stood half naked. And then the farmer, now you tell me, what is the difference between you and me? Then the farmer said, Maharaj, we are both same now. You got it? So similarly, this is how Ishvara and Jiva. So there is ignorance, timira drishti. Timira drishti is some kind of eyesight defect. What they call, so the glaucoma, or even cataract, one of them, or whatever it is, one of them. So that is the timira drishti, means you don't see properly. So Shankara said in one place, Taimirikaha, the one who has, say, cataract defect, he sees 2 moons. We all have, I don't hesitate to say, we all have this cataract in the eye of knowledge. So, because we see multiple gods. Like the cataract guy sees 2 moons. Hey, 2 moons are there. So, suppose the cataract guy is playing cricket, he will see 2 balls. That is how it is. And we all see 2 gods. Sometimes male god and female god. Sometimes father god and son god. Kya baat hai? So this is the cataract vision. Very distorted vision. So there is an aberration in our vision. That is the timira drishti, aberrated sight. What is this timura drishti? Raga adi klesha. Klesha is a affliction of the mind. That is called klish. Becomes kleshaha, the affliction of the mind. So what are the raga? Attachment, we have seen. Dvesha, aversion. Abhinivesha, fear of death, born out of identification with the body. That is called abhinivesha. Once you are identified with the body, then unbeknownst to you, the fear of death will settle down in your psyche. In the youth, it remains dormant, the fear of death, but as the middle age and old age comes, it comes up. Therefore, people, especially old people, they are waiting to die, still afraid of death and afraid of life also. This is how they live. This is the raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. These are the kleshas. And avidya is in the source. That is the source. Avidya is ignorance. Is the source of all these problems. And then there is asmita. There are 5. Asmita. Asmita is egoity. So these 5. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. These 5 are in place. That is jiva. These 5 are not there. That is Ishvara. You see, you define Jiva and Ishvara correctly. Suppose you define, you don't mind my saying some of these things. Suppose you define Ishvara as the consort of a lady called Lakshmi Devi. Suppose that is what Ishvara is. Then you cannot even think, even in the wildest of dreams, you cannot think of identity with that Ishvara. Now the division is just fixed there. How can you think of somebody else who is he is with his wife, and how can you say you are one and the same? It is a huge problem. And therefore duality remains in place. That is not how you have to define Ishvara. You cannot have Advaita that way. Then what kind of Advaita you will? You are, this guy is the husband of Venkamma and Bhagavan is the husband of Lakshmi Devi. How can there be Advaita? Venkamma's husband is Venkamma's husband only. Right? It is silly. There is sometimes I sympathize with the Dvaita people because they are aghast at the idea of oneness. How can we be one? We cannot be one. That is how. That's why the blemish lies in the very definition of Ishvara, in the very understanding of Ishvara. The blemish lies. That's why I gave you the example of king and farmer. The difference lies only in the conditioning. The king is dressed in one way, he conducts himself in one way, he lives a life of one particular kind, whereas the farmer is dressed differently, his lifestyle is different. That is how difference comes. But essentially, they are the same human beings. There is oneness. Similarly, you take the Chaitanyam or Samvit, which is the awareness. This awareness, it is sullied by avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. These impurities have entered into this Chaitanyam and made it very constricted and bottled up. That Chaitanyam is Jiva. You take away these impurities. It is like take impure water and filter it, and so now you get pure water. Similarly, these impurities are taken away. Means you examine the attachment. What is there to get attached to? You know that you are not attached to anything. The attachment is gone. Once attachment is gone, aversion is gone. Don't identify with the physical body. Disidentify with the physical body. Perseveringly disidentify. Then the fear of death is gone. I was not born and I am not going to die. The fear of death is gone. The egoity, you work on it and get rid of the egoity, as we have seen in the morning. So become the impersonal awareness. The egoity is gone. So these four gone means their origin, namely avidya, is also gone. Now the awareness is now freed. It is becoming freed. So Swami Ranganathananda used to say, Jiva is the infinite embedded in the finite body. Still infinite. Jiva is still infinite, yet embedded in the finite. If you ask how infinite can be embedded in the finite, the answer is Maya. Therefore, when the infinite is taken out of the finite and it emerges in its full glory of infinitude, then there cannot be two infinites. And so it is the Jiva is same as Brahman. That is how that expression. So the only difference between Ishvara and Jiva is the Pancha Klesha, the Ragadi Klesha. That is the only difference. In the absence of that difference, the awareness which you call Ishvara and the awareness which you term as Jiva are the same awareness. Therefore, Jiveshvarayoha abhedaha. That's why he defines Ishvara very correctly. That is how you have to define Ishvara. So that Ishvara, you have to contemplate, you have to worship, mental worship, you know. How to worship mentally? Nitya yuktaha, satata yukta santaha, upasate. So they worship. These devotees, they worship. Worship means contemplate. They contemplate upon Ishvara. Some actions will be there. Actions happen. You don't do actions. Actions happen. So the natural thing happens naturally. It is like the breathing happens. The blood circulation happens. Same way, the perspiration happens. The summer weather is coming. You people perspire, so that happens. You don't perspire. You sit and perspire. No, you don't perspire. Perspiration happens. So all these things happen. Similarly, seeing happens. Hearing happens. Thinking happens. Everything happens. There are only happenings. There is no doer. There is no doer. Therefore, So what I was saying, all actions happen. You need not get hung up on what about actions, etc. They will happen. So you don't do them, they happen. So need not worry about, if we constantly contemplate upon Ishvara, who will cook the food? You won't cook the food. The fire cooks the food, and what needs to be done, it will be done. Everything will happen. So you are advised to contemplate upon Ishvara in an uninterrupted way. It is not difficult. Suppose you are cooking food. You are cooking food for God in the form of husband, for children in the form of, for God in the form of children. You are cooking food for God who is in the form of the guest. And then you are cleaning the house for the welfare of God in the form of household members. Whatever you do, you are doing it as an offering to Ishvara. You are constantly aware of Ishvara in all. You give water to the plants. In the summer, you have to put water to the plants. You do that because there is God in all those plants. But you don't pluck flowers and all that. You should not do that. Leave them alone. Be extremely sensitive to all life. So, if you are okay with somebody coming and pinching you all the time, are you okay with that? I don't think so. Then don't do any such thing to the plants and all that. Don't pinch them. So give water. If you have to give water, please do that. So everything happens, but you see Ishvara in all. And when somebody approaches you, you be conscious of the Atma in the other person. The person is the other, but Atma is not the other. In Atma, there is no other. That is Ananya. The other doesn't exist in Atma. Body the other, mind the other, Atma not the other. Atma is always Ananya. That is the Ananya Bhakti. Okay? So this is how you maintain a stream of consciousness, a stream of God consciousness. That is the Nairantaryena Hi Machittataya Ahoratram Ativahayanti. So Nityayuktaha Upasate. They are contemplating with the yoga that is timeless. Timeless yoga. Nityayuktaha Upasate. Why? Because we say their Upasana is Nitya Yoga. We name it as Nitya Yoga because they are spending the time. Ahoratram Ativahayanti. They allow the time to flow. Time flows, you know. You don't carry the time forward. Time flows. And then you allow the day to flow. But the day flows, but your God consciousness remains in place. And now the day is replaced by the night, Ratri. But the God consciousness is not replaced. You see, people, they go to the office, and so they are conscious of the office work and duty. Then it is evening. That consciousness is replaced by some other consciousness. They go to club, and another consciousness replaces the earlier duty consciousness. So like that, the consciousness is, content is getting replaced all the time. But for a devotee, the content and the Namarupa change, but the reality behind them, the divinity behind them, it doesn't change. So you should be conscious, you should be aware of it. You should be aware of the divinity in all. You have to cultivate that awareness. This is what is called Nitya Yuktaha Upasate. They do that because Nairantaryena Machittataya, because they maintain that stream of consciousness in which the names and forms are constantly getting replaced, but the underlying divinity is not replaced. You see a piece of cloud, that is divine. Then you see space, which is divine. You see a bird flying, that is divine. So like that, the names and forms are replaced, but the divinity remains the constant element of the stream of consciousness. That is what is called Nairantaryena Machittataya. Then the day is replaced by night, but the divine consciousness continues to be divine. This is how they allow the life to move forward. Ativahayanti. So, the life has a flow. Life is a flow. Life is not static. It is a flow. And how that flow should be and how we should allow the flow to be, etc. I will discuss these things, these important things, some more in the next class. So with that the verse is over. Let us say the verse one time so that I will have the satisfaction that I have completed the verse. Maya veshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopetaha te me yuktatama mataha.